Genuine question for you guys. At what point is it socially acceptable for me to finally gloat and say, I told you so? 6 days ago, our unelected World Economic Forum appointed rattlesnake money printing Prime Minister decided to give a speech where he warned that the next 5 years will be the most dangerous in British history. Why 5 years? Why not 4? Why not 6 or 2 or 7? Because 5 years is the length of an electoral term in the UK. And the last time World War III was in the headlines from elected politicians was in January this year. I predicted back then, the closer we get to election season, the more you'll start seeing this. Damn, my beard's the same length in that video as it is now. Weird. I now think this is the main reason why we keep seeing random World War III mentions in mainstream articles. For a lot of European and NATO countries, 2024 is election year. It's a big year for the Western political establishment. They have seen various polls and they are shitting themselves. The tired and old parties are tanking in the polls in favour of newer, younger, pro-nation state, anti-globalisation, anti-international institutions like the World Economic Forum and the United Nations influencing their politicians, and anti-meddling in other countries' affairs foreign policy, internal issues focused, populist... Now granted, we don't have a populist alternative rising in the polls in this country. Sadly, the two-party established order is relatively safe, because all we're doing is swapping one middle manager for another. Nonetheless, it is going to be an electoral wipeout. I fully endorse the zero seats policy the Conservatives are currently doing. But nonetheless, Rishi is still shitting himself because of that. Because the reality is nobody likes him. Nobody voted for him. In fact, it's very reminiscent of how the European Union operates, where politicians who have been expressly rejected by the public, at least the people who can vote, and they end up in positions of power and influence anyway. He's going to lead them to probably the biggest defeat they've ever had, and hopefully that party dies finally. One down, one to go. And as election season gets closer and closer, you're going to see other world leaders talk about World War III too. Why? The old tactics of just dismissing them entirely as far-right extremists are not working. As Hillary Clinton and later on Labour in 2019 discovered, calling the working classes of your country a bunch of evil, bigoted, misogynistic racists because they're sick to the back teeth of constantly being shafted, ignored and taxed into oblivion doesn't win you elections. But they've changed their tactics and gone to fear-mongering about war to make us all scared, so that you'll come running back to big daddy government to protect you. Just like with all current things, this will go on for a couple of days, maybe a week, then it will quiet down and be forgotten again. People will move on to the next current thing. Who remembers Coney 2012? So I guarantee you now, I'll make this one prediction. Once the debates start, and we get a little bit closer to voting time, you will see the exact same scare stories start popping up again. The exact same rhetoric will come back. It's all to make people who are thinking about voting for different parties instead of the established order to stick with the devil you know who has nothing but utter contempt and hatred for you. So there you have it. I called it. And as we get closer to election season, it will happen again. The reality is, these elected politicians are the ones that are sticking their noses where it doesn't belong, in foreign conflict. So if anything's going to be dangerous, it's because of their actions. And they're trying to gaslight you into voting for them and allowing them to have another 5 years where they prioritise the entire world over the people who voted for them. This is not how it's supposed to work. Their constituents are us, not the rest of the world. Sending money to foreign countries to prop up their wars, where you're just prolonging human suffering instead of trying to pursue a peace deal, and depriving your citizens of that money where it could be used to help them out, is not going to win you elections. If you've made it this far, then I'll share something with you. I've been repeating myself now, saying the exact same things for 2 years. And it's very tiring, because I just wish for once that people would stop allowing current things to be memory hold. I'm speaking directly to you. Please stop forgetting these things. Every few months, these exact same stories come out. You tag me in them, I give the exact same response, you calm down, and then in a few months' time, after you've forgotten, the exact same thing comes back, and the cycle repeats itself. I bet you've forgotten about the other current things that we've had since. Let me jog your memory. The nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Chernobyl, when fighting was happening around it. Nord Stream 2. The rogue missile that landed in Poland. The spy balloon incident and the UFOs in February last year. The Russian tsunami nuke that was capable of sending a big tidal wave to engulf the whole of the United Kingdom. Or the nuclear submarine that disappeared. The talking of drafting and conscripting. I bet you forgot about all of these things. It's called current thingism. Current thingism. It's been dominant for nearly 3 years now. In fact, since bat flu. One could argue that's where it all started. But my fundamental point is, you guys really need to start remembering these things. Start recognising the pattern. News drops. Everyone panics. Then it calms down. Everyone forgets. A few months later, another one comes out. Everyone panics. Few days later, everyone forgets. I'm saying to you, stop forgetting. Stop letting it get memory hold. Summer's coming up. Do you really want to waste it worrying about stupid things that elitists want you to worry about? Don't let them distract you from the fact that they are terrified that you're not going to keep endorsing them. Break the cycle. You deserve better. We deserve better. Don't let them gaslight you. They know they're doing it. You know they're doing it. They know that you know they're doing it, but they're still doing it because they see you as peasants, plebs, useful idiots. I don't see you that way. And I guarantee you, some of the smaller people out there that are trying to get elected, they don't see you like that either. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That's not what I do. You vote for whoever you choose. But if I can get you to think outside the box and recognise that the established order is just that, and stop being conned every election cycle to go for the lesser of two evils, knowing full well that they're still an evil, instead of going for who you believe to be right and the person that you agree with the most, then I've done my job. I'll point you in one direction. See if you have an independent running in your constituency. I guarantee you, they're just going to be your average local man or woman who lives in your area and knows the people. They are 10,000 times more likely to have your interests at heart than some apparatchik, some career party man in Labour or the Conservatives or Lib Dems or Greens.